I think I'm on.
Yeah.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Think back to when you were my age. What decade was it?
I graduated from high school in '64, so it would have been early part of the '60s.
Okay.
Well, between '60 and '64. That's when I was in high school. So sophomore year would have been '62.
Wow. Okay. Where were you living at that time?
Lived in Belpre. Went to high school in Windhorst.
Ooh. So you didn't, so in high school you were living with the Torlines?
Every week I would go to the Torlines every Monday and go home every Friday.
Oh, okay. Who was living with you?
Well, at home, it would have been Nancy and Mom and Dad. Yeah, everybody else was gone.
Kind of like me. Just being neighbors.
At the Torlines, that's good.
Oh, yeah. I was
At the Torlines, well, the first year there was Lorne Wolf and Thelma. I think the three of us. And then Thelma graduated. And so then my sophomore year, it was Lorne and I think maybe his sister Kathy. I think that was the year she came. And I think that lasted 2 years, and then the Wolves left. And so the last year I was there alone.
So the Torlines were just a couple who just...
Well, it was a family. They weren't even married. They were just brothers and sisters.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I knew that. Yeah. Okay. Where were you going to... I just already knew that. What classes did you take?
Oh, I took, obviously, English and American history and shop. I liked that class. I took math courses, algebra, geometry, Latin, which was a disaster. No, actually, I did okay in it, but it was a disaster later because it messed me up when I got into the seminary because I got off schedule. I mean, what else would I have taken? Chemistry, biology, government.
Was it a Catholic school or?
Well, sort of. It was actually a public school, but Monsignor Stremmel was the principal, and the nuns taught in it.
So, okay. What other activities did you do? Like
football, baseball. No, I did baseball a couple of years. Basketball for a couple of years. I was student council. Those are the main things, I think.
Did Grandma and Grandpa ever come watch you play your games?
Or maybe once or twice. It wasn't too often. But, that wasn't the thing then. You didn't... I mean, if the games were home games, people would come. But they didn't travel with the team much. So a few would, but you didn't expect your parents to come.
How big was Windhorst?
We're 59 of us in high school. I had the largest class ever to graduate from high school.
So you had 59 in your grade?
No.
Oh.
We were 19.
Oh. Going big.
So did they have religion classes?
Yeah, we had religion in the morning, early in the morning. And the way it worked was the school district rented the school from the parish beginning at a certain time every morning and then ending every night. And so what went on between those hours couldn't be religion.
Oh.
But at night we would do all sorts, we'd have our what did we call it? Religion group. We had a youth group. Yeah, whatever kind of youth group we called it. I forgot what it was.
That's a handy thing.
Yeah, it was quite an arrangement, but it worked.
Is it legal now?
I imagine you could still probably get away with that.
At Baileyville, I think that some people, or at least before they combined the synagogue.
Were you involved in other church or community activities?
Not too much because I was always gone during the week and gone during I quit Boy Scouts by that time because I wasn't ever around for the meetings. I was involved in things at the school, but I don't remember what those were exactly. There weren't that many activities, Yeah. Mostly sports and I did speech and that kind of drama. I did that. I took, I think I went to state with one of my speeches. It was extemporaneous. No, it was what did they call that? It was an informative speech. Oh, I did a speech on the Berlin Wall, and I quoted Robert Frost. There something is that doesn't love a wall.
That's a good line there.
And then it's just the whole thing was about the Berlin Wall. Then my last year, that was the most interesting year. It was extemporaneous speaking, and what you would have to do is you would go to the speech debates, and they would give you a topic, and then you had so many minutes to prepare your speech. And of course, you had to be prepared for all sorts of topics.
Yeah.
But I had a nun that was, it was like getting briefed by her every day. She would read all these articles, and she would give us to read them out of U.S. News and Time, and I'd have to read those and get ready for those debates.
Wow. Was that like, I don't know, when did the Berlin Wall fall?
Oh, it didn't fall till the 90s, did it?
Oh, so this was just...
It was relatively new yet.
Oh,
not real new, but...
I was thinking okay, so it was just, because they built it like right after, like a few years after that.
A few years after World War II. I don't know when the wall exactly went up.
Wow, okay, I gotcha. So it was like a current event.
Oh, it was a very current event then. Yeah.
Okay.
See, I was in high school during the Cuban Missile Crisis, which is when they thought we almost went to nuclear war with Russia over the missiles in Cuba.
Do you remember having like nuclear drills? Like,
I remember talking about them. I don't know if we ever had one, but we had a place in the school where you would go in case there was a nuclear event.
Like, because I've heard of people going under desks or something, like holding their...
No, we never did that.
I don't know what it helped. Like, cover your face with a newspaper, okay?
We had what they were shelters, and they were kind of in the basements and places like that. And I remember, having a video or a movie they showed us on, how you would, if you had to live in this shelter, how you would live and what you would eat. And a lot of places had rations stored.
Oh, okay.
They were like canned rations so that in case of a nuclear war, you would have something to eat.
It's outside. How did you get around? Where did you go?
Well, I had a 1954 Ford that I drove.
It's like a truck or a car?
Car. A blue car.
Where did you go? Just...
Belpre to Windhorse.
Okay.
One of my more exciting adventures was my sophomore year. At Thanksgiving, I drove to Fowler and picked up your grandmother.
Oh.
She was teaching in Fowler that year.
Oh, okay, yeah, she told us about that.
And she didn't have a car. And so I went and picked her up and brought her to Belpre, and I think that's when your grandpa came to visit.
Oh, while you were gone?
Well, I think he got there before Kay did.
Oh.
I'm not sure that's the exact time. I think it was, though.
I bet that was...
Is that thing still working?
I think so. Is the lights on?
Lights still on? Yep.
Yep, okay. Because... how was that at being driven home by I can imagine John getting rides from me. Like, I had to go pick up John because I'm a sophomore and he would be about the age Grandma would have been. But,
John would have probably driven once you
got
there.
So did she, once you got there, or did you just keep driving?
Oh, I don't remember. I presume I did. I don't know.
Being the guy, it's different.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I suspect, in those times in particular, guys did a lot more. Girls didn't drive quite as much as guys did.
Where did you hang out with your friends? Did you hang out?
Well, just at school mostly. Because I was always home on weekends, so you never did much on weekends.
Yeah.
So during school. And, if there were ball games or if we had what do we call it? We'd meet once a month, I think.
Oh, okay.
And of course there was stuff people didn't know about.
That was your chance.
We had a place, and I don't think I was only there once, But there's a place. It was just a intersection and a cut off, like a place you could drive out to the field, but they called it Little Germany, and that's where they would drink beer. They'd go out there and drink beer.
When was it? Was it 18 then, or did they even have a drinking age?
18.
Okay.
Yeah, for beer.
Okay, so it wasn't too hard. The high school.
And then
seniors.
21 for hard liquor.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a job?
On the farm.
On the farm. Okay. What did you do for fun? Besides going to Little Germany.
Well, it was all tied up basically with school. Summertime, I always had an interest in making things, so I remember refinishing furniture. I remember tearing down an old motor off of a combine just to see what it was made out of, because I didn't know anything about motors, so I wanted to know. And then when Paul was home, I'm trying to remember when that would have been. I guess when he was maybe in high school, and I don't know. But we'd get together with Mike Hammocky, who would have been like a relative of the Torlines. And we would go to Larnert sometimes and just spend the evening talking. Remember one night sitting out on the riverbank talking.
Yeah.
We didn't do any fishing. We
just talked. Yeah. You have to fish. You have to clean the fish.
Yeah.
What did you do on dates?
Went on a date.
There's different kinds of dates, like movie theaters. I don't know.
Oh, we mostly dance. Like prom, and I didn't date very often. Very little.
Yeah. Okay.
I took. Well, you know her, Peggy Conradi. I took her to the junior prom, and then I took her sister Kay to the senior prom.
Was the divide in the high school, because if there's 59 people in high school, was it like pretty evenly split between girls and guys, or?
There were more girls.
Oh, good statistic for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, the funny one was Dave Tassett. There were 3 girls in the school that he was not related to.
Oh.
And he married one of them.
Oh my God.
And they're still together. There has not been a divorce in my class.
You're kidding.
Not a one of them are divorced.
You must have something right there.
Mm-hmm.
Windhorse.
I think there's been 1 or 2 that had some rough good goes, but they're still together.
That's impressive.
I think we only have one that's dead. Yeah.
Wow.
And I buried him.
So you guys are still you still get together and stuff then?
We got together this summer for our 50th anniversary.
That's impressive.
Not everybody was there. Diane didn't make it. Diane was Dave Tassett's twin sister. And she lives out in California, Arizona somewhere. Didn't come. And then Larry Innerman, who lives in Dodge, but he was injured in a fall and so he's in a wheelchair. And for whatever reason, he didn't come.
So there are only 2 that didn't make it?
As far as I know.
Wow, that's good. So did a lot of people stay local then?
Some, but there's a lot of them that are not. Oh, there's another one dead. Beverly Horning is dead. She was a Conradi from Cimarron. You might have met. Her husband had been the sheriff for a while, and then he died too of cancer, and then she died after that.
My other one was after school. Did a lot of people go to college, or did you just get married right away, or?
Oh, there was some of both. I think Dave went to mechanic school. I don't know what Norb did. I really don't know what Norb did. Some of the guys just got jobs right away because they weren't very academically oriented. Like Roseanne went to nurses training. Some of them went to college.
Did most of the people just marry their high school sweethearts or whatever you call it?
Oh, not necessarily.
No, I was just thinking of Dave Tassett.
No, that's really probably the only one that I can think of right now.
That's funny. What was your method of communication? Like we text.
Telephone.
Telephone?
But, you didn't use it that often.
You still wrote letters back then.
Yeah, you would write, but, among each other, we never wrote letters. But
Right.
we would call some. But basically, you just didn't talk that much till you saw each other. I mean, there were party lines, and
Oh, so
you
you
did.
wanted to say.
And of course, I was not living at home, so I didn't want to use the phone that much. I would use it some, but it was pretty minimal.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was home, it was long distance, so there was no point in, I don't think I ever called anybody from home, from Belpre.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
No, it's just different.
Different.
Very different.
Very different, yes.
Well, but even like when in the college, if I'd call home once or twice a semester, that was it.
Yeah, same for me. It was long distance. Long distance cost you money, not like nowadays. It would cost money to call long distance.
And it was kind of expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So when you called, you made sure you had a reason and you knew what you wanted to talk about. And basically, I just called to make arrangements to come home. Where they're going to meet you.
Who was your president?
You mean the United States?
Yeah.
In high school.
John Kennedy. He was shot my senior year.
Do you remember where you heard about that?
Oh, I remember we were in school. I don't remember what exactly I was at, but what I do remember is we found out about it. We were getting ready for play practice, and so we walked over to the gym where the stage was at, and told Sister Rosalind, and she had a bad heart, and I thought I killed her. I mean, I told her that John Kennedy was shot. She turned around, laid her head on the stage, and I just didn't know if she was going to come back or not.
Oh, wow.
I was scared.
I killed my teacher.
The president died, and my teacher's dead too.
Oh my gosh.
She was really probably the best teacher I've ever had. She was just, she was energetic. She was always challenging you. She always had more to do than you could do. And my kind of motto was you do all the other work you have to do, and then whatever time you have left, you give to her classes. But she was very challenging.
What'd she teach?
English.
Oh, okay.
And speech. So she was the one that helped me with the extemporaneous speaking.
What was happening in the news? Did you watch the news?
I read it. I didn't watch television much. On weekends, I probably did. Well, that would have been the Civil Rights era, So there were Martin Luther King was active then. That's things are going on in Alabama. The Cuban Missile Crisis was going on. You still had all the Cold War stuff going on. And then you had Kennedy shot and Lyndon Johnson taking over.
I know you read the news because you were in the class with the drama or whatever. But did you ever talk about it? Did they talk about that at home or dinner table?
Oh
friends?
yeah. And it kind of depended who it was. I think I probably talked to them more about it with the girls than I did with the guys. I was pretty close to Roseanne and somewhat Diane, and I think we would talk some about it. I was in a group where the guys weren't too academic oriented, and so I was the only one that really went on to four-year college of the guys.
Okay. How did the prices compare to today?
Well, it was just much cheaper. Of course, you couldn't. I remember the first time I earned $2 an hour baling hay, and that was unbelievably high.
What was normal pay?
Well, usually you were getting $1, $1.50, but things had gone up, and Paul and I got $2 an hour we helped some neighbor bale hay. But I would go to school with sometimes without any money in my pocket for the whole week, and you didn't need it. Fill up with gas at home, and we could buy candy bars and stuff at school, but I never did.
Did they have vending machines or?
Oh, they had just a little treat, snack bar type of thing where they'd sell. I guess it was at the noon hour or something. They would sell candy bars or something.
Make money for something. Yeah.
I don't think there were any vending machines that I remember.
I don't even know when they came in.
But I think Coke machines were around, but we didn't have any that I remember. course, then it was all bottles yet, too.
Oh, yeah.
It was before cans came out.
So, like, what was your favorite, like, treat? Like today, if I got something to drink, I'd get, like, lemonade and a Snickers or something. Like, what would you get?
Well, we would have got a Coke or Pepsi and a candy bar. Hot dogs were really popular, too, like, for sporting events. You know, they would always sell hot dogs.
That hasn't gone out of style.
No.
Did you watch movies?
Very rare.
Okay.
I guess I went to a couple movies. Yeah, I remember some drive-in movie. I have no clue what it was. But I remember, you know, there's the kids that were there together.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember your favorite songs popular during the 60s?
I remember one I always laughed at because, remember, they were lazy, crazy days of summer, days of sodas and pretzels and beer. It was a song about, you know, the lazy days of summer, and it was a summer that Paul was not home and he was in the military, and Dad had hurt his back, and so it was not a lazy.
Not a good summer.
Well, no, I just worked hard. That's all. I worked really hard that summer.
What were your favorite dances?
I have no idea. We waltzed. And that's really all I can remember. Maybe a little bit of the polka. I think we did the Mexican hat dance. I think we did that.
I'm curious, this is kind of an earlier topic, but how much would like tour lines charge for you to stay?
$1 a day.
$1 a day.
And we always teased them how rich they were getting. Of course, we knew they weren't.
So they had for food?
All the food then.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't make any money on us.
So they just did it because they enjoyed having the young people around, or what?
I think they did it because they thought it was a help to people. And, you know, maybe they did enjoy having young people. I don't know. You know, I was too young to worry about how they felt.
Right.
You know, I think it probably supported the school, and they wanted to do that, and brought kids to the school.
Probably kept the school open.
Yeah. And we would help there, milk cows some, or feed chickens and things like that.
What were hairstyles like? What were clothes like?
I remember I had a flat top, which I couldn't do today.
Oh!
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You know, it was the Beatles came in right at the end of my high school that last year, and that's when things began to change. Because suddenly, you know, they came with long hair, and then long hairstyles became popular.
Okay.
Clothing, we were not allowed to wear jeans to school. We had to wear dress pants.
Oh.
That changed while I was there. I mean, they wore jeans, and then they no, just dress pants. Couldn't wear jeans.
Wow.
You know, I don't know, just clothes. I don't know.
Close. Did you hear news about the Korean War? What did you think about it?
The Korean War, see, that was gone by that time.
Oh, so it would have been.
I would have been younger.
Okay. So
I don't know exactly. I ended in about 52, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay.
I remember, you know, I remember as a little bitty guy, you know, maybe first, third grade, somewhere in that area, that there was a war going on, but I didn't really have any sense of where it was.
And then Paul went to Korea later.
But that was later. That was after the war.
Okay. Was it the Vietnam War for you?
That started my first year in college. Well, I remember reading in my senior year in the paper that President Kennedy had sent some military advisors or something to Vietnam. And that was really what began it. But the whole thing did not really break until my freshman year in college. And, of course, by that time I had a draft deferment as a seminary student.
Oh.
And so, you know, it never was an issue in my life.
Yeah. So it's like the draft lottery and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know I wasn't part of that.
Okay.
But I remember hiding we had and I wasn't part of this. It was the older guys did this, but there was a guy who was dodging the draft, and he hid in the seminary for a while. I don't know if the faculty knew it or not. I have no idea.
He just was in the dorms or whatever.
Yeah, they just had him in the dorm. Wow. It wasn't too long, maybe a month, less than a month, I think.
The farmers they didn't get drafted.
Oh yeah, they
did.
Yeah,
there was a time that they weren't.
I think that was more during World War II.
Okay.
Because Dave Tassett got drafted.
Do you remember hippies?
Oh yeah.
They're just.
I don't know exactly what year that would have started, but it would have been after the Beatles, I think. And that was really quite a turning event, the Beatles. And that really changed the culture very quickly. Because, clothing styles changed, hairstyles changed, drugs began to come in about then. I mean, there was a few drugs. I remember, I was probably maybe 8th grade or so, there was a news program on television. And I remember the news commentators, it was a report about a party, he said, that I hope your children or my children never go to. And it was a heroin party in New York. And that was the first we even heard of drugs. But then after the Beatles and through the Vietnam War, drugs became quite common.
Do you remember war protests?
Oh yeah.
In Kansas or?
Oh, I don't. I was never close to one, but I remember them.
Do you remember the fall of Saigon?
Oh yeah. It was very distant, so I think I was ordained already by that point.
Oh, okay.
But we knew it was happening. The other thing I remember is the Watergate trials.
Oh.
I remember her dad watching that he was very absorbed in that.
I know, it came out slowly with those 2 reporters, but, so when did it start coming really? Because now I hear about it, and it's it was big news from the start, but I know it couldn't have been.
Well, you just heard about a robbery at this place called Watergate. And then it gradually, the reporters began to investigate it and found out who was behind it. And, then it kind of just started picking up, as President Nixon got more and more connected to it. Yeah, that was an interesting time.
Okay, that was my last question. Is there any others that you think of?
That's probably enough.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. That's good.